Hello, sports fan. This is Steven here for Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering who's a better receiver, Randy Moss or Calvin Johnson. Before we get right into that, I'm going to make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates and all the breakdowns. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Looking at both these wide receivers, it's a big debate on social media, and people are talking about who's essentially better. Are you going with Randy Moss, the freak, or are you going with Megatron, Calvin Johnson? We're going to take a deeper dive into the stats and the numbers, and sometimes we're going to go a little bit outside the numbers to find out who's the better receiver. We're going to start out with Randy Moss with one of the most illustrious careers, and you're looking at him being within the top three all time with most of the major stats. You're talking about receptions, touchdowns, yards. When you're thinking about some of the best catches that we've ever seen, the definition of Mossdom, and you're talking about essentially one of the best hands-eye coordinations in the game. The ability to go up and high point the football, catch it with your hands, come down, and still have some yak to go. Still have a lot of movement after the catch and still being able to score touchdowns on a high clip rate. Randy Moss was such an instrumental part of the Minnesota Vikings' success and also the New England Patriots stretch run that they had from 2007 to 2010 with Tom Brady. And you're looking at just what he was able to do in between a couple of stops at Oakland, a stop again in Minnesota, and then a stop with the 49ers and also the Titans. He had an illustrious career, and when you think about everything that he's been able to accomplish just on the field, you're talking about 15 seasons, 982 receptions, 15,292 yards, 156 touchdowns. Randy Moss, not only on Thanksgiving Day, had big games. He had big games all over the place. When you're thinking about the Super Bowl, when you're thinking about regular season, playoff games, it was a fixture of him going up and catching the ball. It didn't matter who was covering him. You had some of the best, like Darrelle Revis, cover him, and he was able to burn him, Champ Bailey. You had a couple of different other great corners try to attempt to slow him down, and he still was victorious in those battles. When you think about the likes of Terrell Owens during the same time period, he went toe-to-toe with Terrell Owens as far as a couple years of catches and receptions and things like that for being one or two in the NFL at the time. When you think of overall what we remember Randy Moss for, it's for making big plays. I will say this, Randy Moss did leave a lot on the field. I don't feel like he got the best out of his NFL career as far as everything. Now, he had a dominant career, but I feel like he was lazy sometimes. In those years in Oakland where he could have given more effort, the years in San Francisco, in Tennessee, and going back to Minnesota, there could have been a lot more effort given. But when you're looking at Calvin Johnson, 731 receptions, 11,619 yards, 83 touchdowns. And you're thinking about this, and I'm going to tell you this. He has almost more than half of everything that Randy Moss has, but only in 9 seasons. Remember, Calvin Johnson walked away from the Lions. Calvin Johnson ended his career prematurely, retired, and he was done with the game of football. So a lot of what we're looking at is, what did Calvin Johnson do that was that much better than Randy Moss? Well, he took over football games. Remember, Calvin Johnson was taking over football games when he had 3 people covering him, and he was still getting 200 yards in a game. Calvin Johnson with Matthew Stafford set single-season marks for the greatest season receptions-wise as far as catches and touchdowns. You got to think, some of the best football was played when Calvin Johnson was on the field. So when I'm doing a direct impact and I'm looking at numbers and I'm also looking at outside the lines, Calvin Johnson was a better receiver than Randy Moss. The numbers don't lie. The numbers do not tell lies. So when you're looking at 15 seasons versus 9 seasons, when you average them out and you actually sit down and look at the numbers, Calvin Johnson's season was more impressive. So mind you, Randy Moss has a couple of more seasons to pad those stats. But if Calvin Johnson would have kept playing, he would have eclipsed everything that Randy Moss would have had. Think about this, 11,000 yards in 9 seasons versus 15. He could have easily gotten 6 or 7 more thousand yards if he had played 3 more seasons. He could have easily picked up, let's just say, 83 touchdowns to 156, 25, 30 more. But when it's all said and done, Calvin Johnson is just a better player. Get in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. Calvin Johnson or Randy Moss, which one was the better receiver? Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus for all the breakdowns and all the updates, and we'll see you in the next video.